Switzerland is known for its precision and quality in everything, from making watches and chocolate to the world of banking and finance. Annalisa caught up with the Swiss ambassador to the Philippines to talk tourism, trade, and alpine cuisine in this week's Food Diplomacy.
Switzerland is known for its pristine alpine region of scenic mountains, tranquil lakes, and fresh air, which attracts millions of visitors to the small European country.
Stunning landscapes, vibrant cities, identity.
Swiss ambassador to the Philippines, Andrea Reichlin, touted the tourism appeal of her country at an event at her residence. She tells me about alpine cuisine and the embassy's efforts to boost tourism and trade with the Philippines.
We are joined by a special guest.
Yeah, by Frank Reichenbach, General Manager of Marco Polo Ortigas.
And you are Swiss as well.
Yes, yes.
Frank and his team had prepared all the delicacies we serve tonight, and we are looking very much forward. We will see that later on. But for the tasting, we are tasting a red Swiss wine, a rather light one from the Valais, and actually it's a re-edition of a special type of grape that has been lost in time and that has now been reused. This is our sparkling wine from Switzerland. Okay. It's called Moller. It's in one of our states. We have the sparkling wine tradition, and it comes from there. So our toast, we will have it with the Swiss sparkling wine. And then we will serve also something which is very traditional from Switzerland. It's a fondant.
Okay.
And fondant is a white wine, also from the Valais, and it is particularly nice together with all types of cheeses.
So we will walk over because they have this whole spread of very traditional cuisine. So can you, while we're walking over, Ambassador, tell us what distinguishes Swiss cuisine?
Well, the Swiss cuisine is an alpine cuisine.
Okay.
So it has its tradition for conserving food for quite some time because of the longer winter months. That was in the past.
The raclette and the fondue, I think both of them, the raclette, are really Swiss.
Is fondue a Swiss tradition?
Yes,
Yes?
yeah, very
Okay.
much, yeah. And the origin is from the Valais, canton of Valais, so that cheese is also from Valais. It's specially made cheese because if you heat the cheese, you warm it up, you want it to melt nice, and you know, so it remains creamy when you get it on the plate. It's not if you do this with another cheese, it will not work. You need this specialty cheese. A little paprika, sometimes also nutmeg.
Okay, so this is what he's doing.
And the little potatoes. Some of our two most famous, probably the most famous, you know, you go around some villages and towns in Switzerland, you can have this nicely from the grill with a nice dark bread and some mustard. So this is our veal sausage. It's made with veal, young beef. And this is the Schüblik. Schüblik is from St. Gallen, our eastern part of Switzerland. This is smoked and has also a bit of smoky taste. This is the Émincé Zurichoise. Okay, here is now a bit. This is another traditional dish. It's veal. Again, the veal is very white. Is actually grass-fed. It's very natural. You know, there is no other. So they're out on our famous grapes, and that's the veal with a cream sauce. Swiss dairy products, quite famous. The cream, white wine, of course, little herbs. This has a little red wine, and it goes well with it. All this, the bacon, all the ham and all this, so that goes quite well together. This is a potato for tonight. We made a roast potato. Usually we also have the roasty potato, which is quite famous.
Tell us about the cheeses.
We have hard and soft cheeses here. We have three of our main cheeses. The Gruyere. Same thing is with the Emmental. Emmental is the one you see here a little bit with the bigger holes. This is a brie, I think we also make brie in Switzerland.
And then I noticed all the dried meat, again, preserving food.
Yeah. Again, here we have the air-dried beef. It needs quite some time to dry, several months, up to a year. And then we have this looks like a salami, but it's not. It's a smoked type of sausage.
Potato salad is quite famous because it goes well with the cheese and the meats. Some fresh salads, and here the bread is also
very important,
what
right?
is very typical is maybe the zopf. This is a buttered zopf, is with milk and butter. It's traditionally served on special holidays, but also on Sundays.
It's a tradition.
And it's really nice with the cheese.
Then we have some healthy breads, brown breads. We have lots of tradition for actually darker breads from the countryside.
Very nice.
Healthier ones.
And of course, chocolate. Swiss chocolate, world renowned. So what desserts do we have?
We call it sticky chocolate. It's we use Veltlin chocolate here. Veltlin is like the Rolls Royce in the chocolates.
Really?
They specialize in the very high-end products, high-end market.
This one is from my region, and actually it's walnut and honey, and it's also a very nice pie to conserve again for a long time.
This is darker. This is very dark chocolate with raspberry and hazelnut. That blends very well.
The beauty of it that you can always be amazed by a new recipe or new ingredient.
And this was a wonderful spread. We have so many great... So I'm here with Urs now. He's the Deputy CEO of Switzerland Tourism. And Urs, I have to say, a lot of people know about Switzerland through different associations, say cheese or watches or chocolate. Why would people want to visit? What's the biggest draw for going to Switzerland?
I think the natural assets of our country are unique. You know, you can go to a glacier and within 1 hour you can touch a palm tree. You can sit in a vineyard and drink some local wine. Within 10 minutes you're in an urban center of a city. You see the most modern art museum, and then 5 minutes later you're in the old town and you sip a coffee. You have 4 national languages, so you sip an espresso in the Italian-speaking part, you drink some local wine in the French-speaking part, you eat a sausage in the German-speaking part, and then you have the eastern part, the Romansch part, where you eat eine Nusstorte, a Nusstorte. You definitely have to take some of the icons on your route, like a Jungfrau, like a Titlis, like a Lucerne, an Interlaken, a Geneva. You have to do a paddle steamer cruise on a lake. Definitely have to do that. You have to take one of our scenic trains, but then you have to make sure that you also meet the locals. You know, that you have a nice dinner in a restaurant where the locals are going. So you get a little bit of that culture of this country, which is so diverse, as you said, with those 4 languages, and all on such a small service. You know, only 8 million people live in our country, so you will really have the chance to meet the locals while eating, while traveling, and then you should talk to them because they're really nice people.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, what is the sense right now of tourism from the Philippines? Are we growing? Are more people visiting? Give us a sense of the status right now.
We grew about 67% in the last 3 years out of the Philippines. So Switzerland seems to be a very popular spot, or become a popular spot for the Philippines on a really low level still. But it's growing 30% year over year, so that's a very, very good sign. So we really want to promote Switzerland as a place to come, as an individual traveler, but also as a first-time traveler doing your Europe tour. But it's also really for somebody that would like to go deeper, to know more about the country. I think that's something for a traveler that has been to and wants to come back. Switzerland is a great place because we are Europe in a nutshell.
Food and tourism are Switzerland's strongest selling points, and now you can add trade to that with the recently ratified free trade agreement between the Philippines and the European Free Trade Association, composed of 4 countries not part of the European Union: Switzerland, Iceland.
People to people is probably the most important element of all bilateral relations because it continues over time. And I think this type of exchanges are probably the deepest that you can foster, and we are very much looking forward to more people-to-people relations, as well as government.
But tell us about the situation of trade right now. What kind of products and brands are we seeing here?
Right. Of course, it's not only about products. It's also about services, it's about investment, and it's also about sustainability. Concerning our bilateral economic relationship, we still have a lot of room to improve, and on both sides, actually. And also, that's actually the idea behind a free trade agreement, that within at least the next coming 5 years, it will have a boost in our trade relations. Now, on the Swiss side, we mainly export pharmaceuticals to the Philippines, but also machinery and, of course, watches. That are the main three products that are in the market here.
What about the sectors for opportunities? Where are Swiss companies really investing?
You might know that Switzerland for many years has been a leading country in innovation all over the world. We are strong in brain power. That's our only natural resource other than water. And we really invest a lot into our youth, into our education system, in science, in research and development. And it pays in the long run.
We saw a picture of the train, your train system, transportation, a very strong model for us here in the Philippines.
Absolutely. Our public transport system is really a very important element to our growth and also to our thinking about sustainability. We take the trains wherever we go. They are very precise most of the time, and actually they are really a mass transportation system in a country that has 8 million people. Watches, of course, is also a very old tradition. You can have, you know, an innovative watch with a lot of digital things, or you can have, you know, the old mechanic watch, which is, you know, a beauty in itself because of the mechanics that are in there.
What kind of cultural programs do you work on while you're here?
Well, we have from time to time we show Swiss films, we have Swiss music, musicians, but we always try to have, you know, the bridging element to the Filipino culture.
So I guess going forward, what's the priorities for the mission here for the embassy?
First of all, in the economic field, because the Philippines is growing very much. It's a leader in Asia, and we certainly would like to be part of it. And as I just said, you know, there is a lot of room, and we really would like to see the Philippines prosper in the coming years.